Just 36 days to go. India versus Pakistan, Chapter 3 of this rivalry. We all thought Chapter 3
would be the
Asia Cup final, but no, there is going to be a Chapter 3, and that is India versus Pakistan at the Melbourne Cricket Ground on October 23. 36 is a very special number for Pakistan. Pakistan fans troll the Indian cricket fans for getting out for 36 in that Adelaide pink ball test. But they do not know what happened after that. For them, history of Indian cricket in Australia ends with 36, and for the rest of the world, at Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane are also included in it. So India versus Pakistan, one more important thing has happened. Both teams have announced their squads. Pakistan have made not too many changes, but there are certain inclusions which are interesting. India, on the other hand, some hashtag justice trends, barring that aside, they are settled upon a core, and we hope that they play with that core.
That's the key point.
Yes. So, what is India and Pakistan's next 1 month going to be like? India are going to play 6 T20Is, 3 against Australia, 3 against South Africa.
And don't forget 3 ODIs with a significantly different team, reportedly.
Yes. Plus, they will play 2 warm-up games against Australia and New Zealand.
Pakistan have taken a
Pakistan seem like making up for lost time. Asia Cup reached the finals.
And remember, they reached the finals despite playing barely any T20I cricket in the pre-tournament. And now they're like, no, we'll play 7 straight T20Is against England, who are widely seen as one of the strongest T20I, in fact, white ball sides, you can say.
Yep. So Pakistan, historically, history will be created when they will play a 7-match T20I series for the first time in history. And after that, not just that, they'll play a tri-series in New Zealand involving the hosts and Bangladesh.
Correct.
So, 12 to 15 T20Is just before the game against Pakistan, against India. No, only one warm-up. Pakistan versus England, because they are coming straight out of Christchurch. No need to adjust to Australian conditions apparently. So only one warm-up game there. So today what are we going to do in this dugout is that we are going to discuss the squads of both India and Pakistan. Which squad has the right balance? Which side is dominant in the batting or in the bowling? Which player can make that X factor from each team? We will discuss that in today's dugout. So obviously let us begin with the Indian cricket team. We had all speculated months on months who was going to be that final composition of 15 on September 12th. After chaos, missed googly timings and all that hullabaloo, we finally have our T20 World Cup squad. Rohit Sharma will captain. KL Rahul, yes, lots and lots of divided opinions on KL Rahul.
Not the only one on the team who opinions were divided on.
King Kohli, Virat Kohli. If the Asia Cup did not yield that much of success for the Indian team, we can at least credit them that we got our king back. Surya Kumar Yadav, no doubts about his inclusion, although Surya has struggled. Deepak Hooda.
Again, someone who unfortunately struggled while being played at what position?
Number 7 or number 6 or number 5. And on top of that, when there are left-handers, did not bowl. Beat that. Rishabh Pant.
Speaking of contentious.
Very, very divided. Because Rishabh Pant, let us not mince words, Asia Cup was a failure for him.
And his recent T20I form for a long time has not inspired any confidence whatsoever.
Yes. Dinesh Karthik. Very unfortunate to have just played only 1 game, but did not play the rest of the Asia Cup for no fault of his.
2 games, you could say, right? He started the first game.
Did not bat.
Yeah, didn't bat. And then he played the last game. Where he inexplicably bowled an over.
Yeah, he bowled an over. For the first time in his near 2-decade career, he bowled. So that is the thing. And then we come to the bottom half. Hardik Pandya.
No shock.
One more very, very contentious.
R.
Ashwin. Because there are other people who could have made it, but he's there. Yajuvendra Chahal struggled, but he did bounce back slightly the last 2 games.
And you weren't going to drop him on the back of a few bad games. You saw that backfire in 2021.
Yep. Bapu's back, Aksar Patel.
Only because there's no Jadeja.
There is no Ravindra. Remember, India were dealt a massive blow when Ravindra Jadeja was ruled out of the T20 World Cup because of a knee injury. And it was that same knee injury which happened while he was doing some waterboarding activities, surfboarding activities.
Jasprit Bumrah being back.
But this name will really put a smile on a lot of people.
Exactly.
Jasprit Bumrah back.
Thank God.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, 11 wickets in the Asia Cup with
But struggled in the death.
those 219 overs.
Struggled in the death.
Yep.
Anyway,
And then Harshal Patel's also coming
not
back.
much of a shock.
Arshdeep Singh. Now, Shane, I will have to enlighten you on a very particular thing as to when we are making our dream team. We were panned for the choice of Arshdeep Singh over Haris Rauf. Why was that? Because Arshdeep struggled in the game against Hong Kong. He dropped a catch. Universally, we were slammed. But public memory is so short that you bowled those two last overs against Pakistan and India.
And
Sri Lanka and only conceded close to 7 runs, and it took you to the last ball.
Especially the match against Sri Lanka. He didn't bowl a single ball wrong.
Yep. And then you have the reserves.
Again, I don't think
Mohammad Shami. Many people were arguing for his inclusion.
Correct.
But he's not played ever since the 2021 ICC World T20. Correct. And on top of that, IPL form once again was used. Oh, but he's done well in IPL. My only bone of contention is IPL form can be translated into a series inclusion, not direct ICC World T20 selection.
Yeah, I think the fact is that they only included him in the reserves because there was a bit of an emergency when it came to bowlers.
Yep.
Otherwise, I think they had looked beyond him. Or not that I think it was fair.
Yeah.
But then again, just suddenly bringing him back wouldn't have been fair.
Wouldn't have been fair. Shreyas Iyer, unfortunately, we all knew that he may not make it to the original squad, but yes, he's in the reserves. Ravi Bishnoi, very unlucky to have missed out. Very unlucky.
And Deepak Chahar, again, I think if he was fit, might have been in that 50.
Yeah, he might have probably been in Harshal Patel's place.
Possibly.
Okay, so let us first devote ourselves to the batting.
Now, I think, the top 3 which India has is he struggled with unique problems in recent times.
Rohit had starts but did not convert it big.
One big game and that was it.
That's it.
KL said the better.
Oh man.
I don't want to be accused of being a hater, so I'm not touching.
No, tell the bare facts.
I mean, underwhelming since return.
Yeah, but he came back to form. 62, man. 62 against Afghans. If we have to include Kohli's 100 as very important, Rahul's 62 also deserves that.
There's a reason why I rated Virat's 100 higher. 2 reasons. One, never gotten 100 in T20 I's.
Yep.
B, it was coming at a time when people were just literally waiting for him to show any kind of,
that Damocles sword was hanging.
Exactly. It had been far too long. So he could have gotten it against Namibia and people would have still celebrated.
1020 days that jinx ended, and KL Rahul, question marks are still persisting over him because he failed in the series against Zimbabwe because he was coming back after
very rusty there, which I understand.
Even in the Asia Cup, he did show intent in the game against Sri Lanka or in the game against Pakistan. But at the same time, what happened is KL Rahul did not convert those starts except against Afghanistan. Strike rate issues remain a massive problem. And yes, many people will say, oh, justice for, I was saying, no, there was a hashtag which was trending very heavily. Suddenly, it's still going on, although he's now the captain of the India A team.
Not that means much.
Sanju Samson, but then again, see, if not for Rishabh Pant, would he have taken DK's place? I don't think so.
No, I don't. Because again, DK fits a very specific role, which Sanju doesn't play.
And anyway, if you want to trend a hashtag, trend justice for Ishan Kishan. What wrong did Ishan Kishan do after a good series against South Africa?
Which came after a pretty poor IPL.
And on top of that, one match he got to play in the series against West Indies, didn't pick him for the Asia Cup, and you have not even picked him in the India A team for New Zealand. Justice for Ishan Kishan makes much more sense than justice for Sanju Samson. So, as far as the batting is concerned, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul.
The only positive I'll say about Virat is that he finally looks like he's back in rhythm. That's key.
Surya, there are he's no longer that Superman 360 anymore because he's been scoring only against the minnows.
The two criticisms. Again, I think that minnows comparison is unfair because he did get a very good score against England. But what I will say about Surya is that his approach, where he looked to go bam from ball 1, might not always work, and that we saw during the Asia Cup.
Yes.
Slower pitches, you're not always going to get that much. It's not always going to be conducive to stroke play. We take a little time. We know he has all the shots.
Yes.
So again, playing to the circumstances rather than playing to a template.
Yeah, but the questions over Surya's minnow bashing might not end if he gets a big score against Pakistan, South Africa, against those teams in the ICC World T20, and plus he has 6 T20s against both the Proteas and Australia. So that is why it is very, very important that. So the top 4, as always, from 2017 onwards till 2022, the top 4 remain as solid as ever. Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, Surya. Now I'm going by the playing 11. What is going to happen? Okay, I'm saying Hardik Pandya at number 5.
Yeah.
Your ultimate X factor.
You wrap him in cotton wool because if you think Jadeja's injury threw India's team composition off whack, if you don't have Hardik Pandya, you are, I can't say the word on air, but you get it.
So Hardik Pandya, remember, he's not playing in the Australia series. He's not playing the South Africa series. He's in the Australia series because you have to rotate. 3 players have been rotated in both these series. Hardik Pandya, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Arshdeep.
Yeah, they'll be reporting to the NCA for conditioning exercises.
Conditioning, yes. Now the big conundrum. This is where our batting balance, when you come for a finisher, probably looks one-dimensional or looks to be very, very vulnerable. Rishabh Pant or Dinesh Karthik.
I'm starting with DK.
So your top 6 will only be right-handers.
No, that depends. No, I think if you bat, my assumption that if you're playing DK, you're playing Akshar Patel. So Akshar can go up at 6 if need be. If you feel that, I don't think 6 or 7 is that much of a difference. Not in all honesty. And to be fair, we've seen team management send Akshar Patel before Dinesh Karthik.
Yes.
It caused a lot of uproar on social media.
Yes.
But we've seen it happen. So that can happen. And I think Akshar, to answer your question, will be the number 7.
Do you think Wasim Jafar recently just tweeted that Dhoni took a punt with Rohit Sharma and decided that he will open in 2013.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened with Rohit's white ball fortunes after that.
Yeah. I mean, he became an opener in Test cricket also after that.
Do you think if Pant has to play,
Yeah.
if for the balance of the team, if the batting has to look really, really good, and if it comes out well, do you see Rishabh Pant open here?
Yeah, but right now there's no slot there. That's part of the problem. KL in the middle order when he's in flying form, I don't mind. But right now he struggled for form atop the order, which most would argue is the best place to bat in a T20 if you are a stroke player. So I don't mind seeing.
Or Rishabh Pant at 4, Surya at 5. What they did in the Pakistan game.
And what, if you remember that even MI were doing with Surya,
yeah.
They would sometimes sending Dewald Brevis at 4, Surya at 5, and he was doing okay even there.
Yes. So. Why not that floater? Because where I see is the balance that you have to look at it. If you have a left-hander, kind of changes the dynamics.
Yeah, agreed.
And remember, Pant, in that game, was he a left-hander that he got out? No. He played a right-handed shot and got out.
But the problem with Pant right now is that why I wouldn't be tweaking permutations and combinations to fit him in. His form hasn't been great. If he's not getting a chance to bat but getting good cameos at the bottom, and you say, okay, yeah, we want him to be batting more, then I bend over backwards to put this man in my team. Right now, I don't see him as a guaranteed selection in T20Is, even though I do think him as an opener might not be the worst idea in the world.
Worst idea. So look, now we know our batting core of India. It is Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, Suryakumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant / Dinesh Karthik, Hardik Pandya, and
potentially Akshar Patel.
That is our 7 that we may have. And the discussion that we are having right now on the Indian cricket team is indicative of the depth that they have.
But the problem is that with no Jadeja, it kind of shows just how much you're scrambling for options. Because if Jadeja is there, then no questions asked.
Yes.
You know for a fact what your team combination is, easy as you like.
Yes. But Jadeja's injury threw everything out of the equation.
Exactly. So, but
looking at this Indian batting line, okay, I will just present to you our neighbors.
Which is the Pakistan batting lineup, right?
Yep. Okay. Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan.
That's your top two.
Your top two. Okay. That's it. Where is the middle order?
I mean,
there is no middle order in the Pakistan cricket team.
It speaks volumes to just how bad their middle order was, that they were so reliant on an out of form Fakhar Zaman.
Yes.
Out of form Fakhar Zaman. He hasn't been in form for a while now, as long as I can remember.
Because of that.
Now he's been dropped.
He's been dropped. He's in the reserves, by the way, along with Shahnawaz Dani and Mohammad Haris. But apart from Mohammad Rizwan, and Babar Azam, you look at the middle order of Pakistan in the Asia Cup. You either had Asif Ali, Khushdil Shah, Mohammad Nawaz, Shadab Khan all getting promotions.
It wasn't settled.
It wasn't settled. There is just one, I like to use that IPL analogy. There is just one part of the pav. There is no vada and there is no bottom pav. That is the Pakistan batting order.
The bottom pav, I would say, is wobbly. Because on a given day, someone like a Nawaz or Asif Ali might just fire and get you quick runs.
Where is the surprise element? Okay. Mohammad Nawaz's promotion kind of was out of syllabus.
Yeah, so the surprise element not that surprising in hindsight, because no one prepared for that.
Okay. Now what they have done is gotten somebody like Shan Masood. But you have a problem with Shan Masood. Why? His average in the national T20 Cup that is going on in Pakistan at this moment is 30. Strike rate of 127. And breaking news, folks, Shan Masood has never played a T20I. You've never played a T20I, but yes, on past form and current form at this point in time,
he's probably their best option.
Derbyshire, as well as for his Pakistan side, he is your best bet. So you will push Shan Masood to number 3.
Also, you know what the problem with that top 3 is? Very one-dimensional. They're all exactly the same player.
Yep.
They're all accumulators.
Okay. Babar Azam, 125 plus strike rate.
Rizwan, 127.
127. And Shan Masood also 127. That's not yet in T20s, but in T20s.
Yeah, so his strike rate wise, there's no difference in, it's like that meme which does the round. No? Corporate wants you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. It's the same picture.
Yes.
There's not much difference there.
Yeah, so you have to pray then that Pakistan don't chase 170, 180 on a regular basis. Because if you do, with Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, as well as Shan Masood potentially, your batting lineup is screwed.
And not just that, you have to remember that of these 3 players, one Shan Masood, as you said, not played a T20I, although he has a decent-ish record in T20s.
Yes.
Of the other 2, Babar has been woefully out of form through the Asia Cup.
66 runs in just 5 games.
And then you had Rizwan, who was playing T20Is like it was ODIs. So the criticism previously was, he bats slow at 120. He said, I'll bat even slower. And I'll bat in the 107s and 108s.
And Rizwan thought he was MS Dhoni because in that final, remember.
Take it deep.
Take it deep, but it was already 15-16. That was even out of peak MS Dhoni zone.
Exactly. 15-16. Take it deep wasn't an option when the required run rate was well past the 15 run mark.
And remember, Dhoni did it only twice or thrice when that went to 15-20.
He didn't do it often.
Not often. Dhoni knew 10 to 13 I had a chance.
Yeah.
Beyond that, it was not possible.
Because with 10 to 13, what happens is, if you get 1, 4 or a 6 in the early parts of the over, suddenly the pressure is back on the bowler.
Okay. Now, I was saying what middle order? There is no middle order because Iftikhar Ahmed,
Khushdil Shah,
Asif Ali, Shadab Khan,
and of course Nawaz.
You will probably be wanting to bank your explosive lower middle order on Haider Ali. Because Haider Ali has that power. But where will you bat him? 5, 6, 7, when you already have a similar kind of a player like Mohammad Nawaz or Shadab Khan or Asif Ali, even Iftikhar can be your floater. But even Iftikhar's batting is not set the stage on fire.
And that's the thing with is that I can't for the life of me pick out if with the Indians the one problem is that it's very set in stone. It's not a problem, it's just a fact. But theirs is the exact opposite. Besides the openers, I can't for the life of me tell you who's batting where. Maybe the top 3. Yeah, Shan Masood, if he's starting, has to be batting at 3, not batting anywhere else.
Yep.
But it's very, both sides of their batting are very one-dimensional because the top 3 are accumulators, and then after that there's a lot of pressure on the lower order to go bang bang.
Yep.
But none of them have the kind of records that would be striking fear in the hearts of any opposition.
Pakistan's major problem is your two batsmen at the top are already accumulators. So you're already behind the asking rate from ball one. That is the problem. And you don't have a solid middle order
to actually compensate for that.
Which is not the case in India.
You note for a fact that if you have, in a worst case, and by the way, Rohit has not been playing like an accumulator at all in recent
But his strike rate has been 150 to 160 plus.
Exactly. He might just be getting only 20, 30, but he's going hard. So I don't see him as an accumulator, and even Virat. The thing with Virat is that an in-form Virat is guaranteeing you runs. Neither a Rizwan nor a Babar have done it as consistently as what Kohli has.
Pakistan better pray that Babar gets into form in the remaining 12 T20Is that is there.
I mean, he's given himself a lot of time, 12 T20Is.
Yeah, 12 T20Is, 7 in Pakistan.
Yeah. And don't forget that one warm-up also. So.
Yeah, but again, see, Sena countries, Babar has a very mixed record there. Mixed record, not a terribly poor record. But yeah, 40, 45-ish. Okay, I mean, if you have to compare it to the Fab Four, Williamson is a laggard in Sena countries when it comes to white ball cricket. Smith is alright. Kohli is the beast. Root, well, he doesn't play that much of white ball cricket, unfortunately. So
certainly not T20.
Yep. So on the batting front, if I have to look at balance and if I have to look at intimidation, India tops Pakistan.
Even for the lower order, I mean, you note for a fact that
even among the wicket keepers.
Actually.
Even if I take out Rishabh Pant, DK is a much better
capable wicketkeeper.
Doesn't appeal too much.
And the thing with Rizwan is, I don't know if anyone else notices, but I think every time he put in too much effort to dive, I felt the fear that he'd be pulling a hamstring.
Yes.
Every single time.
Yes.
Every single time.
Rizwan is carrying a niggle. Let us not be too
He's been
sure.
carrying a niggle from game one. Remember, he ended up landing very awkwardly.
Yeah,
and
he jarred his knee. Yes,
so he's been playing through all sorts of pain barriers.
So you have assured batting until you may say Aksar and even if Ashwin comes into the fray.
And even not Ashwin, you have someone like Bhuvi you can tonk a couple.
Number 9. You have batting till number 9. So if I have to pick my 11 today, Rohit, KL, Virat, okay, Pant, Surya, Hardik, Aksar or Ashwin. Then you have Bhuvi, 8.
Then you will have, then I think the thing will be what? Bumrah, Akshar, and Bumrah,
Arshdeep and Yuzi.
And Yuzi, that's your 11.
Number 8, you're batting till number 8. Whereas with Pakistan,
number 7 if you're being generous.
Yep.
That's right.
Oops, looks to be.
Seems to be a bit of an issue there.
Yeah. So, who will be our batting lineup? Babar Azam,
Rizwan.
Then you've got Shan Masood potentially. Iftikhar Ahmed at 4. Khushdil at 5.
Asif Ali at 7 normally.
6 or Haider Ali. 6, 7. So, and Mohammad Nawaz at 8.
Although they could use Nawaz as an out of syllabus option.
But again, India also 8, Pakistan also 8. But with Pakistan, the strike rates, you compare it with Hardik Pandya, you compare it with Rishabh Pant,
not just even Surya. None of this, no disrespect to the Pakistan lineup. I am a big fan of the likes of Babar. In fact, I've always defended Rizwan's strike rate. But of the lower order, none of them have really consistently been able to set the stage on fire.
Yep.
None of them are X factors the way say a Hardik is or even a Jadeja is.
Yep.
You know, they're not. So
perhaps in the wicket keeping front, okay, it's 50-50 on the balance side. Why? Because Rizwan is a very capable bats at the top. No, very few, apart from Quinton de Kock, I can't recollect any other top wicket keeper batting at the top and opening.
Josh Butler.
But again, Butler, I think hasn't he shifted to number 3 in the recent past?
Not so true. Yeah, but obviously they've brought in Hales, they have...
Bairstow and Roy are not going to be there. So that is a big loss. But yeah, Butler in white ball cricket does do that. Butler, de Kock and you.
And don't forget, England have a lot of top order bats in that regard. Even someone like Livingston can open.
So number 8, both teams have got batting, but on the intimidation front and on the
world-class proven performers,
India tops.
Topping, and in fact, even the bowling, India's is better.
Let's get to the bowling because this is where I think the scales might be slightly tilted in favor of Pakistan.
No, but I think it'll be tilted. You know where?
Yeah.
In terms of maybe 1 or 2 performers who, if they fire. Like what Shaheen Shah, who for me is the game changer.
Yes.
Like what Shaheen Shah did last year, that happens again, then India is staring down the barrel.
Yeah, so let us look at the Pakistan bowling, okay? Shaheen Shah Afridi, by the way, is rehabilitating in London and is expected to miss 5 out of the first 7 T20Is. He will come back to bowling and be back in the squad potentially by the first week of October.
So for the last 2 T20Is.
And also for the tri-series. So he is recovering, and according to the Pakistan Cricket Board press release, he is recovering well. Although the build-up to Shaheen Shah's inclusion has not been great.
A lot of people have been very critical.
One Shahid Afridi decided to say on national TV that Shaheen Shah Afridi is doing everything on his own in London, arranging his own hotel room, arranging his own flights. The PCB is doing nothing, which raised a massive storm in Pakistan.
Of course.
But PCB
refuted that.
Ramesh Raja came on air and specifically said, Shaheen Shah is one of the best in the business at this point in time. Why would we not want to take care of him?
Of course, why would they not want
He
to?
called the controversy unfortunate, and that is why it is unfortunate, because it seems strange that why would a top board like Pakistan not want to take care of its top players?
Although you can say that, the way they delayed actually announcing his injury
Yes.
was very unfortunate. But I think now that they've diagnosed that injury as being what it was,
Yep.
I don't think they're going to be, slacking on his recovery.
So, if I have to look at the Pacers first up, Shaheen Shah Afridi, your spearhead is back.
Your left arm spearhead. That's what really freaks me out.
Yes.
That is the main thing that freaks me out.
Because Shaheen Shah pace in excess of 140 kmph,
And can get the ball
accuracy
to
late
move.
swing,
Oh.
and imagine MCG, Perth, Adelaide, fresh wickets. Better watch out.
I'm pretty sure Rohit still has nightmares about that ball, which was the perfect length, came in late.
Yes. With Shaheen Shah Afridi, you have one of the youngsters who really excelled and coming of age for him in the Asia Cup, Naseem Shah.
And he, by the way, is a tricky customer to deal with. Very, very tricky customer.
He's skiddy.
He's skiddy.
Late
and he gets
movement.
very late swing. Like so late, you'd be expecting half the time, okay, now no chance of it swinging. Oh, wait. What? That swung? There were times when Rizwan was caught off guard.
Yes.
He's waiting, and then suddenly he's having, I think that's why he was pulling up. Also.
Maybe. So, Shaheen and Naseem, both in excess of 140. But the pace factor doesn't end there. Hasnain, Mohammad Hasnain, another one of the key guys who did really well. But he'll be fighting for position with Mohammad Wasim Jr.
Correct.
But remember, Mohammad Wasim Jr. was injured before the Asia Cup. That's why he didn't play. That's
Maybe
why
Hasnain might just be given a slight edge in that.
Slight
Very
edge.
slight edge.
Imagine 3 bowlers in excess of 140 kmph. And in Australian conditions, in fresh conditions, which might aid a bit of bounce, Hasnain is your hit the deck
Hasnain is
bowler.
very, very dangerous there.
Yes.
Could be at least.
So imagine 3 out and out pacers. Mohammad Hasnain, Naseem Shah, Shaheen Shah. And then you want a bit of leg spin, throw in Shadab Khan.
Correct. Then, of course, you have the left arm, useful left arm
Mohammad Nawaz, who really did well in the Asia and kept the Indians very quiet. And on bigger grounds in Australia, maybe his bowling could also...
It will, because in Australia, one of the reasons why slower bowlers will get wickets the most is because slightly bigger grounds.
Yeah.
You keep less pace on the ball. Batsmen will struggle to get you out of the park and you'll end up getting catches on the boundary.
Although remember, the Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth grounds are not that big as compared to the 90s.
Because
Melbourne's straight boundary used to be 100 meters in the 80s and 90s. Now it is just about 70 meters.
They brought in the ropes real nice.
Yes, so that is why that is there. But we forgot one more guy in this. The pace quartet is complete with Haris Rauf. Haris Rauf, because when it comes to death overs, we were panned that Arshdeep were in the death overs. Even Haris Rauf bowled well. In the game that Virat Kohli hit a 60, it was Haris Rauf's bowling
which kept him
he
quiet.
clocked 150 plus in the Asia Cup. So imagine Naseem, Shaheen, Hasnain, Rauf, Shadab. You may not even need Nawaz's bowling.
Correct.
4 out and out pacers and 2 swing bowlers, 2 hit the deck and 1 leg spinner.
And a left arm. So they actually really do have bases covered as far as the bowling goes.
This is why you need swing, you need pace, you need hit the deck in Australia, and Pakistan has that covered.
They have their bases covered in that regard.
However, Pakistan's worst enemy is their own.
Themselves.
Hasnain lacks control. Naseem sometimes can lack control.
And Naseem is a...
And apart from Shaheen's opening burst against India in that T20 World Cup of 2021, rest of the games he struggled.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, bitter truth, that happened. So, lack of control, lack of economy could be the only thing that goes against Pakistan's.
It's like there's no middle ground with here.
There isn't,
Either they'll bundle you out cheap, or they'll be erratic and you'll get runs off.
For Babar and Rizwan's batting template's sake, they have to hope that Hasnain, Naseem, Shaheen, Haris, Shadab all deliver on a consistent basis.
That's what cost them last year. You remember when Matty Wade was hitting Shaheen for sixes because he was going for an attacking line at a time when it just wasn't on.
Yep.
Towards the death.
In 1992, Pakistan won on the basis of, look at the bowling composition. Wasim Akram, swing.
And left arm swing.
Left arm swing. Akram was a magician. Hit the deck, swing, can do it.
He could do anything, really.
Aqib Javed was hit the deck. Imran Khan, although towards the latter end of his career, but he was a very, very canny swing bowler. Also could hit the deck occasionally, but at that time his shoulder didn't allow him.
Then you had a inspirational captain and bowler.
No, you had one difference maker in the form of Mushtaq Ahmed.
Correct,
that
Mushtaq.
leg spinner.
Yeah.
He made all the difference in that final also against England at Melbourne. So Akram and Mushtaq, they were your two stalwarts along with Aqib. Here, every base of theirs is covered. The only problem I see with
Lack of experience.
And control.
The control comes with experience.
Yep.
Let's say.
Although Naseem and Shaheen have played in Australia, the 2019 series, it was Naseem's debut and was a very, very bittersweet debut for Naseem because 48 hours prior to his test debut in Brisbane, Naseem found out that his mother had died. Naseem was wondering, how could I come back to Pakistan, but it was going to take him 50 hours to come back. But then he said, I will make my test debut. This can happen later. So, under very, very emotional and traumatic circumstances, Naseem Shah played that Brisbane test. Could have gotten Warner out, but he bowled a no ball. So, very, very bittersweet. He comes back 3 years, much better, hopefully much more potent. Now, I say Pakistan's bowling has a slight edge when it comes to balance. But I am not going to underestimate even the Indian cricket team. Oof.
And when it comes to balance, yes, where the Indians get the edge back, however, is experience and control.
Thanks to this individual.
And having Jasprit Bumrah back is always a bonus.
This individual, Jasprit Bumrah, gives any side in the world a total X factor.
Absolutely.
Hit the deck, pace, accuracy,
Yorkers,
consistency,
whatever you
Yorkers,
want.
what you want, I'll give it to you. Plus, imagine, you pick Bumrah and Arshdeep for the death. 4 overs, 16 to 20th.
Pretty much sorted.
Pretty much sorted because Arshdeep, not much of pace, 125, 130, can crank it up to 135.
140s also.
But
very
accuracy and simply for the fact that he's never ruffled under pressure. Arshdeep and Bumrah, can you imagine that duo in the end overs? If I would want to say, what about the power play? Begin with Bhuvaneshwar, bowl Bhuvaneshwar
that you can bowl Bhuvanesh at least.
And Hardik Pandya.
Exactly. Plus you have with Bhuvaneshwar, you could bowl him potentially 3 overs there.
Yes.
Keep 1 for Bumrah, keep maybe 2 for Hardik. Also, depending on the circumstances, you might want to throw a spinner in there every now and then. You don't know.
See, Yajwendra Chahal is going to be your spinner, your de facto default spinner in that T20 World Cup playing 11. No two ways about it. Now, what will be the battle now? Either Ash or Aksar. That is primarily the position that you'll have to fill in the middle overs.
Correct.
Because India, often what can happen is the game can drift away in the middle overs. In the game against Sri Lanka in the Asia Cup, they lost it in the power play itself. But in the game against Pakistan, the middle overs proved to be very costly.
Correct.
So that is why the likes of Avesh, Yajwendra Chahal all leaked runs in that particular match. So that is why the bowling combination of India may not have that much of pace factor. Swing is there, accuracy is there, but big game experience, they trump it all. Be it Bhuvaneshwar, be it Jasprit Bumrah, be it even Ash or Yuzi Chahal, all have massive big game experience. For Pakistan, only Shaheen and Shadab have that experience.
Correct.
None of Naseem, none of Hasnain have that experience because they have not played that many matches. So that is why. The only contention is either Aksar or Ashwin. That is the problem. So bowling, I will still say it's very, very even.
Because both have pros and cons.
Because of this particular individual. And I will be tempted for this guy also. Arshdeep and Jasprit. Bhuvi anyway is a proven match winner. Let us know, okay. Yes, you will pan us for saying that, but he conceded 14 and 19 runs in those 19 to 19 overs.
He was also your top wicket taker, and we know what Bhuvneshwar is capable of.
Yep. Australian conditions up in the power play. The banana swing. Imagine he really made Jason Roy look foolish in that T20Is in England.
Correct.
Imagine Jason Roy struggling, one of England's pioneers in that white ball reset. But he was made to look like a schoolboy by Bhuvneshwar and Arshdeep. So you cannot ignore Bhuvneshwar. So balance when it comes to the bowling. We always said no in the 90s. It is the case of Pakistan's bowling versus India's batting.
Not really the case anymore.
It is not anymore. I think it is the case of India's batting and bowling versus Pakistan's mercurial temperament. Look, where is the one thing where the balance is totally distorted? Fielding. India's fielding, because you've got Hardik Pandya, gun fielder. You have Deepak Hooda if he plays a gun fielder.
Even the likes of Virat,
Rohit, KL, Surya,
fielders.
Gun fielders. Virat has often been accused of dropping outfield catches. But at the same time, the fielding is something which will be really, really potent. Why? Fakhar Zaman dropped Virat Kohli on 0.
Then let's not forget what
Virat Kohli's story would not even have begun at the Asia Cup had it not been for the drop catch.
And let's not forget what do you call the likes of Shadab, right? Yeah, it was Asif Ali's arm he banged into. Yeah, yep. Let's not even go into that.
Yes, Pakistan's fielding ever since 1954
probably hasn't evolved.
Shadab Khan, imagine one of your best fielders in the Pakistan team. Yes. He's taken some very good catches, has done some good, not relying on Hassan Ali's propaganda, by the way. Not relying on his propaganda, but genuinely he's a better fielder than what Pakistani fielders have been in the past.
True, that's true.
Their fielding is going to be the difference maker. If Pakistan don't field well, game over. Even if you've got 160 plus paces also. So that is the only problem. And my verdict is, on the batting front, India are miles ahead.
Same with the fielding.
Same with the fielding. On the bowling front, I would be tempted to give Pakistan a slight 0.1%.
I would say it's even Stevens in the bowling, but other departments, India are clear. Of course, we note for a fact that we're discussing this on paper. What happens in the match day, we don't really know.
Yeah.
But especially with Pakistan, they are the kings of being mercurial.
Oh man, I mean. Mercurial, I mean, it's all on their DNA, I guess, Pakistan. They never want to make anything very simple. They want to make it complicated and thrilling, like how Manchester City want to do it in every Premier League title. That's how it is. So,
let's take a few comments.
So, the verdict is India trump on batting and fielding.
Go down.
Personally, Pakistan 0.1%. 90%, the GOAT is commenting, which Roger Federer GOAT. 90% want Virat to open. GG is 90% want Virat to open, but then again, Virat opening, will it solve the problem after just one game? You're all getting excited after one game. Because Rohit wasn't there. Now Rohit comes, will you drop KL down the middle order?
That's what KL says, na? To main baar baithu.
Yeah, I mean, you can't drop KL. I'm very sorry about that. Comparing Indian team to Pakistan is not great. World Cup as a SA or dangerous compare with their playing. Look,
no, that's an interesting point actually,
that is,
Vikram, because that's something we could. That's something we'd actually want to do. We're not just comparing balance of Pakistan. This is the start.
It will be done as in the lead up to the ICC World T20. We are going to compare India's strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats, not just with Pakistan, but with also South Africa, Sri Lanka,
England.
West, whoever comes on that group in ours, because there are two places that they'll come out. We'll compare it with Australia, we'll compare it with England.
Except with the qualifiers, of course.
So we'll compare it with all the teams heading into it.
Correct.
So it is not just Vikram, it won't be India, Pakistan, it will be every team who we face. India, Australia, potentially on 16th, we may do it. So, any other questions? If any person, okay, wait. But never trust Pakistan so early. They might change full team before September.
Good one, I doubt. They won't be allowed to do that.
Check out the date, what Sharan Vinakota has said.
September 31st, clever.
Very clever. By the way, New Zealand will announce their T20 World Cup team on 20th.
They've been given
They have been given an extension because they will start their game on 22nd. So 1 month prior to that, and because 3 of the players have refused central contracts.
I mean, no Trent Bolt, no Jimmy Neesham, no Colin Agrandoo.
Yep. So that is why, because of that upheaval, Gary Street, the coach, will announce the World T20 squad on 20th September in a college function, by the way. That's typical New Zealand
Very
for
interesting.
you. That's typical New Zealand for you. Go down if there's any.
Go down. That's okay. We saw that.
Yep. Indian bowling stands nowhere near par. We have seen in WC21 and Asia Cup 2022.
Yeah, but then in Asia Cup 2022, I don't
see
think...
one particular over changed the entire dynamics.
Also, not just that, in 2022 Asia Cup, India were not playing with their full strength bowling.
Yes.
There was no Bumrah there.
There was no Bumrah.
And I like Rishikesh MS's comment. He says that Liam Livingstone's a 4D player, can bat flexibly. Scroll up. I missed the comment now. Thoda scroll up karo. Up. Upar, niche nahi. Oh, हाँ, थोड़ा और ऊपर. हाँ, उससे भी ऊपर. हाँ, green color का वो होगा. हाँ, कहाँ गया यार?
I think we lost it. Yeah.
But I do take your point, Rishikesh. I do agree with you. हाँ, there.
Yeah.
Batting, bowler, off spin and leg spin and good fielder. Yes, correct. He can bowl both.
Now imagine that middle order of England, which has, the top, Hales, Butler, Livingston. Oh man, better watch out because I feel.
Don't forget Ben Stokes.
Oh yes, Benjamin Andrew Stokes.
Don't forget Ben Stokes. Yeah.
He's back. 4 absolutely destructive players. My goodness. The only team that ranks up to that is Australia's.
And to an extent South Africa. India too. If Kohli and Surya put on their ace run-making masks on, then who knows? Absolutely.
But Australia, man, if they can get Tim David in that, you've got a Warner, you already got a Finch if he fires. Steve Smith probably might not set this to you. Maxwell, Marsh, you may have Tim David. Imagine that.
And don't forget the likes of Stoinis. Yeah.
4 destructive batters. So
Silly Point is showing his biases here.
Yeah, can win again, won twice in flow, can't win World Cup. Having
Rituraj, I think his time will come.
Yeah, his time will come.
He unfortunately got injured.
Did score a century though.
He got injured at a time this time around, just when I think his form was also poor, so kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Yep. Can we open with KL and Virat and Rohit at 3? Rohit at 3 after such a long time.
No, not true. They batted him at 3 last World Cup. Remember against New Zealand when Ishan Kishan came up to bat the order. What happened there? Exactly. Whoever was it I saw?
Look, I would just pray for India's sake. Okay. After one loss, you don't do a Punjab Kings. Destroy everything and try to build everything like a palace in the sky. Just don't do that. India, Vikram Rane is saying India, Pakistan are playing same cricket. 1 to 2 players only perform per match and look for big runs. Sri Lanka showed that 4 to 5 players throughout the tournament.
That's a good point.
Vikram Rane, I absolutely agree. Look, Sri Lanka did not have any of their players in the top 5 of either the run getters. Hasaranga just crept up there in the top wicket takers only in the final.
Yeah, otherwise he was more effective
in the entire team played like a team. Patum Nisanka, Kusal Mendes, and on top of that you had the lower mid order which was potent. Charita Salanka, you had even Danushka Gunatilaka, Vanindu Hasaranga, Dasun Shanaka. Dasun Shanaka was your ultimate X factor in that team. So Sri Lanka, if they can do that same thing in this T20 World Cup, watch out. A strong Sri Lanka is great news for world cricket.
Rajiv says that we've seen Arshdeep masterclass against Hong Kong, and you talk about the 20 row. What about other 3? I mean, look, he's just...
See, Rajiv, against Hong Kong, right, he had an off day. After a very long time, he had an off day. But imagine he kept you in the game against Pakistan and Sri Lanka.
In fact, Pakistan, I'll still say no, because he had 2 bad balls which gave away 6 runs. Sri Lanka, yes, because there was nothing more he could have done. It was just poor fielding that actually kind of, remember there was no fielder at the other end. They couldn't throw. When they did throw, they ended up giving overthrows 2 runs. He bowled fine there.
So, Rajiv, agreed. Arshdeep had a horror game against Hong Kong. We are not discounting that. We are not trying to whitewash it. But you still have to give him some leeway.
Yeah, you have to give him some time. You can't just expect him. You can't say, oh, where is he performed against big teams? He's barely played any big matches.
And look, Arshdeep, we are not taking his X factor thing based on number of wickets that he takes. The economy is important. Death overs. IPL over the last 4-5 years, 5.75 in the death.
Akash Bhardwaj says that I think South Africa is more balanced, but the test will be in the knockouts for both India and South Africa. Agreed.
Yep.
South Africa right now are looking frighteningly good.
Frighteningly good, but again with South Africa and India, now the trend is happening with India. Bilateral bullies, but one bad day in the knockouts can destroy their entire progress.
Also, interesting question from Manpreet Olak, where he says that why in cricket the World Cup is played every year, in other sports World Cup is played after 4 years.
Blame
Simple reason. Cha-ching!
Blame the ICC. The novelty of a World Cup is gone. See, I'll tell you the schedule itself. 2022 you have a World T20, 2023 you have an ODI World Cup, 2024 you have a World T20 again, 2025 you have a Champions Trophy. But if you don't want to call that an ICC event, fine.
But it is an ICC.
It is an ICC. But no, some people say only World Cups. Champions Trophy is
Champions
just
Trophy, what is
poor
Champions
brother of the World Cup.
What is Champions Trophy? It's called the Mini World Cup.
Exactly. And 2025 will be played in Pakistan, by the way.
2026
again a World T20 in Australia, New Zealand. 2027 is again the ODI World
and
Cup.
don't forget that time period will also have 2 World Test Championship finals.
Oh yes.
So there's ICC events galore. ICC events for you, you and you.
I mean, rugby World Cups happen 4 years.
Olympics happen 4 years. FIFA World Cup happens 4 years.
Asia Cup happens 4 years. Asian Games.
Asian Games, the
Olympics,
everything,
Commonwealth.
Everything.
Yeah.
Novelty is important, but
I don't think in cricket that novelty factor is relevant anymore. So
yeah, it's gone now.
Shubman Gill, Darshan Kashyani.
World Cup. As for the Gujarat Titans speculation, not touching it.
Yes. Let's just say that something interesting will come up in the case of Shubman Gill. But if you're looking at Gill's prospects, 2023 ODI World Cup is a much viable, practical window.
Especially if they decide that Dhawan
would be harsh.
Would be, but I mean,
yeah. Predict your top 2 from Group 2. I will go with SA, Ind in my order, my early prediction. Love Rami. Okay, Love Rami has been like a prophet. I don't want to go against his predictions and all. I will say Love Rami, I will kind of agree with you because you're on a roll. I will not say anything else apart from that. Because if I go against you and if you say, you'll say, I told you so.
Rohit has played at 4 for Mumbai Indians. By how many times?
Sumit Pandya, when was that? And did he have that much of success? He even played at number 5 or 6 also for a Deccan Chargers, but that was a different Rohit altogether.
Exactly, and the same, and you're saying that AajTak, leaks runs. Again, this is the first time he's playing in those circumstances. If it is a consistent problem, then I say fair enough. Then I say, yeah, you want to say that, okay, you're not a death bowler, fair enough, but I think he's done enough in his white ball career pre-internationals to justify the fact that people have faith in him as a death bowler.
See,
2 matches don't make or break a player. Please stop thinking like that.
See, Rajiv, I'll only say one thing. That 20th over, supposing Ishant Sharma in that Champions Trophy final was whacked for runs, but didn't he get those 2 wickets which counted for India's victory in 2013? I remember Ishan more for that rather than him conceding 30 runs in 3 overs.
Correct.
That is the impact that you want to look at. We can nitpick, yes. You are not disagreeing with what you said, Rajiv. Yes, absolutely. He went for over 30 runs in both games against Pakistan and Sri Lanka, but he almost took you to the last ball in both the games. Almost. So,
No.
Okay.
Pointless. We'll take one more question. Just scroll down. One more question we can take.
Yeah.
That it's a non-question.
Yes. So.
Aryan Malik, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Do you think Ashwin will play in Australia? He fits in the 11 or not?
For me, he does.
No, he only fits against teams which have more left-handers.
Yeah, and who are the left-handers in that team? If you look at South Africa, Quinton de Kock is there. Killer Miller is there. So why not? And Ashwin, see, he's no longer restricted to just bowling in Indian conditions. Look, you've not given him a decent run in T20 Ice. The problem in that is, you suddenly picked Ashwin out of nowhere in the West Indies series.
You suddenly picked him out in 2021 World Cup also.
Yes. Both instances, you have not given Ashwin the right opportunities to prove that he belongs there.
He got picked in 2021 out of the blue. Didn't play a T20I after that. In fact, didn't get called up for a T20I after that until West Indies. Then gets inexplicably picked over a Bishnoi who was actually doing the bench warming and filling in for Yuzi Chahal when Chahal was being rested.
Yep.
So it's very confusing all round, not just for Ashwin but also Bishnoi as well.
Yep.
Anyway, I think on that
So Rohit has played at 4 in 2018. Yeah, but then it doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't.
In the Indian team, it doesn't solve the problem.
I said Deepak Huda started his career at 7. Play him there now. He doesn't fit now.
He also played at 3.
Now.
He played at 3
doesn't
also,
fit now.
so-
It's a different batsman. Anyway, I think on that note we can call it a day, and
Yes.
we keep doing. If you enjoyed these comparisons, the squad to squad, touch by touch comparison on each of the strengths weaknesses, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Tap the bell icon so you know when we're going live, and of course follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and we'll see you tomorrow and maybe through the day with more sports news updates.
Thank you. Bye bye. Vanakkam. 36